In this video, we're going to look at the syntax of our code so that we can begin to understand how we can transition from a block-based environment to a text environment. Okay, so the first thing we need to note are these slash stars. So we have one there and one here, and these double slashes. In coding, those are referred to as comments. When I have slash star followed by some text and then star slash, this is referred to as a multi-line comment. So it allows me to leave a bigger chunk of text for myself for the future. If I'm trying to figure out what am I doing here, I can leave like a comment or a hint or a little paragraph talking about what this code actually does. And I can also use this comment for other people that I may be working with, so other programmers, so they understand what my code does. The single line comment down here on line 13 and 16, and we can see some here on 15 and 18 as well, they're just single line comments. So they're very quick notes, and generally what we'll do is we'll put them either above a function. So we'll notice here this one says turn on the LED to a high voltage level. That's what this function does here. So it's telling us that this line of text on line 14, digital write bracket 13 comma high, turns on my LED with a high voltage level. So I'm going to assume that my light is going to light up here in a second. Then I can see here that this function, delay 1000, we have a smaller comment right here on the same line, and it says wait for 1000 milliseconds. So that's good to know that my time here is in milliseconds. So 1000 milliseconds, that's equal to a single second. So these comments are left as little notes to yourself or to other programs that you may be working with. Please get into the habit of commenting your code as you go. It will make your life a lot easier as we extend our code upwards of 150 lines. Next in this code, we'll notice that there's these two words here that are purple, and they're both starting with void as lines. Void is a keyword in C++ to represent a function that does not return any values. Okay, the function just does some work. I also know that both of these lines represent a function because they have an open and closed bracket, and they have a pair of curly braces. This curly brace here is what we call an opening brace, and this curly brace is a closing brace. They always come in pairs. Same with here. We have our opening bracket and closing bracket. So a function at its core, if I wanted to write a new function, could look something like this. Void test function, and I just need a pair of brackets and then a pair of braces. And then I separate those braces out on two lines, and I'd put my code here. So put my code here. And you'll notice I used a comment as a reminder to myself. Okay, so that's the basic functionality of, the basic syntax of a function, and we'll be testing this out a bunch in future videos. So let's get rid of that. Then we'll notice that we have some other functions here, pin mode, digital write delay. That's a topic for another video. So let's just actually try it. Let's see what happens here. So my void setup, that's going to be very similar again to my start function from block-based coding, and void loop will be very similar to my forever loop in block-based coding. So let's hit the start simulation and see what happens. You'll notice that the light turns on and off. We'll notice it down here as well on the onboard LED, and all my code is doing is running through this loop over and over again. So it's writing up, waiting a second, turning off, waiting a second, going on, waiting a second, turning off, waiting a second. It's just going to repeat that until I tell it to stop. So let's go ahead and pull the power. Notice that the power ejects here, the USB, and my whole circuit powers down. So that's the basics of what we're seeing here on the right-hand side. In the next video, we're going to start to modify our code, and then we're going to modify our circuit.